Laziness is not loud. It doesn't shout or fight. It works in silence, quietly stealing your future while making you believe you still have time. Every "I'll start tomorrow" feels harmless, but tomorrow soon turns into months and months into years. Many people lose their biggest dreams, not because they lack talent, but because they kept delaying action. But here's the truth. Your story doesn't have to end this way. With one decision, you can rewrite your future. Stay with me, because the story ahead will show how one person broke free before it was too late. David was the kind of boy who always believed he had more time. When homework piled up, he told himself he'd finish it tomorrow. When his friends practiced for exams, he said he'd start the next day. When opportunities knocked, he was too tired, too distracted, too busy doing nothing. His favorite word was later, but later never came. Every morning his alarm rang like a warning bell. But instead of jumping out of bed, David pressed snooze. 5 more minutes, he whispered. Those minutes turned into half an hour. By the time he finally got up, the day already felt wasted. At school, teachers noticed his carelessness. "David, you're smart, but you don't try," they said. He smiled and nodded, pretending not to care. Inside, he told himself the same excuse. "I'll fix it tomorrow." His parents worried, his classmates teased, but David continued drifting. His best friend Mark was different. Mark worked hard, stayed focused, and prepared early. One evening, while David scrolled through his phone, Mark knocked on his door. "David, come on, exams are close. Let's study together," David shrugged. "Relax, Mark, I'll start tomorrow. I always manage somehow." But when the exam day arrived, David somehow vanished. He stared at the paper and his mind went blank. The answers escaped him. His heart pounded. Around him, everyone else was writing with confidence, but he sat frozen, his pen trembling. For the first time, he realized he had nothing to show, nothing to give. The results came days later. His hands shook as he opened the paper. The red marks on the page screamed at him. He had failed, not because he wasn't capable, but because he had wasted his chance. His parents' silence hurt more than any scolding. His teacher's disappointment felt heavier than the paper itself. That night, David sat alone in his room. The phone that once distracted him felt useless. The games that once entertained him gave no joy. He thought about how much time he had wasted, hours, days, even years, believing he had endless tomorrows. His father walked in quietly. He didn't shout, he didn't punish. He simply sat beside David and said, "Son, laziness doesn't take your time, it takes your future. You think tomorrow is always waiting, but one day you'll wake up and there will be no more tomorrows left." Those words sank deep into David's heart. For the first time, he couldn't hide behind excuses. He saw the truth clearly. His laziness had stolen not just his grades, but his future. That night, he couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, replaying his father's words. He thought about his dreams, the life he wanted, the respect he craved. None of it would come if he stayed the same. Something had to change. The next morning, David did something different. When the alarm rang, his hand reached for the snooze button out of habit. But then he stopped. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, and whispered to himself, "No more tomorrows. Today starts now." It wasn't easy. His body wanted to lie back down. His mind whispered excuses. But he forced himself to stand, open his books, and begin. His eyes burned, his thoughts wandered, but he kept going. 1 hour turned into 2, 2 turned into 3. Slowly, the chains of laziness began to break. At school, people noticed the change. David no longer sat idle in class. He raised his hand, asked questions, and stayed after school to revise. His teachers were surprised. His classmates whispered. Mark smiled and said, "I knew you had it in you." Still, the journey was hard. There were mornings when David wanted to quit, evenings when old habits whispered, "Skip today, nobody will know." But he remembered his father's words. Laziness doesn't just steal time, it steals futures. And he refused to let it steal his weeks past. Then months. Slowly his grades improved. His confidence grew. He felt the pride of finishing tasks on time, the relief of being prepared, the joy of seeing progress. When the next exams came, David didn't walk into the hall with fear. He carried his pen with confidence. He answered questions with clarity. And when the results arrived, his hands shook again, not with fear but with hope. For the first time, he saw high marks on his paper. He had done it. But the true victory wasn't just in numbers, it was in the man he was becoming. David had discovered something powerful. Laziness is a choice, but so is discipline. Excuses are easy, but so is effort if you're willing to start. He realized success isn't magic. It's built with small decisions, one day at a time. From that day on, David lived differently. He stopped waiting for tomorrow. He understood that every moment mattered, that every wasted hour was a lost piece of his future. He wasn't perfect, but he was consistent. And consistency, he learned, was stronger than laziness. David's life transformed, not because he was smarter or luckier, but because he decided to fight the enemy within. And that decision, to choose action over comfort, was the decision that saved his future. David's story teaches us one simple but powerful truth. Laziness doesn't just waste hours, it can steal your entire future. Success isn't about talent, luck, or even intelligence. It's about action, consistency, and respect for your own time. Every small effort counts. Every today matters. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear. Start now, take one step and build momentum. Remember, the future belongs to those who fight for it today. If David's journey inspired you, share this video, like and subscribe to empower more people to take control of their lives before later becomes too late.